Hello, students. I'm going to teach you for the unit 2.5 for this book, Advanced Function Grade 12 and Ryerson. And then before we start, please subscribe and my video. So I'm going to use a simplified way to explain it to you. Thank you. Unit 2.5 in the book is page 123. So solve inequalities and use technology to solve it. And let's go into the example 1. Example 1. Solve the inequality graphically. So it's given a polynomial inequality. 2x exponent 3 plus x exponent 2 minus 6x minus 2 is going to be larger or equal 0. Now, when we graph it, we just treat it as a Q-bar function. Y equal 2x exponent 3 and x exponent 2 minus 6x minus 2. The book asking you use technology to graph it. So, and that's the graph. You can read the x-intercept by the graph. I'm going to write on the paper to explain that to you. Now that's the function. And then we plot it. I plot it here. Now I'm going to write the x-intercept. Since it's decimal intercepts, so I'm going to write x equal. So it's negative 1.8, 1 value, negative 0.3 second, and positive 1.7. So, and then we got all the x-intercept here. Now let's plot this x-intercept in a number line. So, and then we're going to text the first one from the negative infinitive. So this is to negative 1.8. Let's plug in for a negative 3 here. So we're going to text the sign, inequality sign, if this is larger or equal 0. So from negative 1.8, so let's test the negative 1. So from here, let's test positive 1. And from 1.7, let's test for a positive 3. So we're going to use a calculator. So negative 3. So I'm going to key in 2 times negative 3 exponent 3. And then add negative. So therefore it's 2. This is the answer. So positive. Now the next one is negative 1. So I'm going to quickly plug inside the calculator. So if a negative 1 is going to be negative 2. So we're going to have a negative 2, x1, x6, minus 2. So I got a positive 3. So therefore, this is also an answer because larger than 0. Now, how about a positive 1? So positive 1, we're going to have a 2. At 1 is a 3. 3 minus 6, oh, it's negative. So this one is a negative. Now, how about a positive 3? We have a 27 times 2, we get positive 54. Positive 54 at 9, so you get 63. So 63, we're going to get a positive here. So therefore, we have 3 answers. 1.8, negative 0.3, and 3. So only the one in between negative 0.3 and 1.7 is not the answer because it's smaller than 0. Now we're going to write all the test solution right here. So negative 1.8 will be smaller or equal x, and x smaller or equal or negative 0.3 or x larger or equal 1.7. So 3 intervals for the solution. So that's how you test the inequality sign to find the solution. Example 2 on page 126. Solve x exponent 4 minus 5x exponent 2 at 4 smaller than 0. We write it into a polynomial function. So the same way to find factor, like b over a, we find all the b factor, all the a factor. We try f at negative 2. We find it is equal 0. So we're going to use the synthetic division to find the second one. So we join it like x at 2. So we're going to subtract it. We're going to write 1. And then the next one, exponent 3, we write 0. So, and then exponent 2 is the negative 5. Exponent 1 is 0, and then at 4. Now we're going to bring it the first number down. So it's a 1. So 2 times 1 is a 2. So, and then minus 2. And it's going to be 2 is a negative 4. It will be negative 1. And 2 times negative 1, we get negative 2. We get positive 2. 2 times 2 is equal 4. We got it 0. Now we're going to write it will be x exponent 3 minus 2x exponent 2 minus x at 2. So from here, we're going to times x at 2. Now for this cubic function, so we are going to find the factor again, use the same way to find it. Now we're going to find a positive 1, it works. So 1, negative 3 and positive 3 equals 0. So we're going to divide it. Again, we use synthetic equation. So for 3, it's a 1. So negative 2, negative 1, and a 2. So we're going to have positive 1. So x minus 1 and subtract. So we're going to get x here. Now we bring the first number down. So and 1 times negative 1, we get negative 1. So we get negative 1 here. Negative, negative, we get positive 1. We get negative 2. And then we get a positive 2. We get this 0. Now what is the equation? So the equation, we're going to write it in this sign. So it will be x exponent 2 minus x minus 2. So times this x minus 1 and times x at 2. Now from here, we can continue factor. So we're going to factor x minus 2 times x at 1 and times x minus 1 times x at 2. Now we have fully factored this coordinate equation. So we're going to use a number line to find which x-intercept is the solution. So we're going to put in a number line here. I'm going to put it in the second page to make room. So let's do a number line. So we plot it here. So positive and negative. So we're going to start with a negative 2, negative 1, and a 1, and a positive 2. So we take negative 3 here. We're going to take negative 1.5 here. We're going to take 0 here. We're going to take 1.5 here, and we take a 3 here. So we're going to use calculator to find out. So we plug in negative 3 into the original inequality. So we get a negative here. So we plug negative 1.5, you still get the negative. So we plug in 1 here. So for 1, so we get a negative. So for 3, we still get the negative. How about for 0, we get a positive. So therefore, this interval is not a solution. So we find the solution whenever smaller than 0. So we're going to write a conclusion. So the solution will be negative 2 smaller than x and also smaller than negative 1. And then or. So 1 is smaller than x and smaller than 2. So for this inequality, we test on the number line, we find the solution. And that's how to solve it for a coordinate inequality. So, and that's finished the example 2. So for explain to you the concepts of inequality, so you're going to factor the inequality like a polynomial function and find all the intercepts and test in the number line. And when you test in the number line, if test the inequality sign is true, will be the solution. And that's what it's about for unit 2.5. So this is our Smart Kids Learning Center class, and this is our contact number for online class. We majorly tutoring all the high school math specific for grade 12 advanced function and calculus as well as English. Today, I explained to you the simplified way for inequality and how to use the same way I solve a polynomial function to find all the x-intercepts and text the solutions in a simplified way to understand it. And please subscribe my video, and I'm going to continue explain to you for the next unit. Thank you. Bye-bye.